I have been putting off doing this video because hey y'all, I have been putting off doing this video because, well, one, life has been crazy for the last month and we were just kind of waiting for everything to settle down and then kind of fill you all in on what's been going on the last month. The end of August, around like August 22nd, my parents both started getting sick with like cold-like symptoms. At first we didn't really think anything of it because obviously there are other viruses other than COVID. So we're just like, okay, we'll see what happens. Well, then my kids both got sick as well. And I mean, my mom could barely get out of bed. Like, that's just how weak and like fatigued she was. And my dad, obviously, he started coming down with it. He didn't seem to have it as bad as she did, but his obviously was settling all in his chest where like all of his viruses always settle. My kids were out for between 5 and 6 days. Fevers, lethargic, cough, congestion, and they were having some abdominal issues as well. I was able to do everything for them at home. There was only one day where I got really concerned about Parker, and I actually called our doctor, who, by the way, never called me back. Luckily, he was fine, but his fevers, even when they don't get super high, he starts to hallucinate, and it was really scaring me. Anyway, both of my kids recovered fine. Like, after about 5-6 days, they were fully back to normal and everything was good. Mom was still obviously pretty sick, but she was slowly, when I say slowly, I mean very slowly, recovering. And Dad, like, he would have days where he started feeling better, and then he would like just not feel good again. So September 1st, I decided, because he was not doing well and he's so prone to pneumonia, that I was like, let's go to the ER, get a chest x-ray and rule out pneumonia. Now at this point, we still didn't know if anybody was COVID positive. So we quarantined at home. And I mean, like I said, we were doing all of the things, if they did have COVID, to help with that we could do. Just, you know, vitamins, fluids, rest, all of the above. I took Dad in. They did a chest x-ray. It came back clear. They asked if he wanted a COVID test. He refused it because they said that it wouldn't have changed the treatment plan that they were going to do. And basically the only reason for doing the COVID test was to know how long he needed to quarantine, which he was already doing. He wasn't going anywhere. So he was like, no, I don't want it. So we went home with the medications and stuff that they wanted him to take, which included albuterol, inhaler, prednisone, which is a steroid, and then cough suppressant, which we found pretty odd because when you have a cough, it's to get whatever is in you out. And they also had said that if he had COVID, that his x-ray would have lit up like a Christmas tree. And since it was completely clear he didn't have pneumonia or anything, they said he most likely wouldn't have had COVID. So they're like, you probably just have an upper respiratory infection. So we go home. He starts doing the albuterol inhaler exactly how they tell him to. He's taking the prednisone and all the other stuff. Well, obviously he was taking the cough suppressant. The cough suppressant was suppressing the cough, which then that means that you're not coughing up all of that yuck, right? The day after he went to the ER, which would have been September 2nd, he was feeling good. He said he was actually starting to feel better. Well, then on the 3rd, he wasn't feeling well again, and we kept an eye on him and whatnot, and everything seemed to be okay. Like, he wasn't feeling well, but he wasn't, you know, getting really bad. But it was really hard to get him to eat anything, and he didn't want to really drink a lot. So, you know, we really were having to force that. Well, then on the 4th, he woke up that morning and was not feeling well at all. And it just seemed that whole day he just was not doing well. So by that evening, I went ahead and I called the paramedics because his O2 was not where it needed to be, and his lips were turning bluish purple. He had no color, and he just was not doing well. Paramedics came, they put him on oxygen, and they gave him a breathing treatment. And that seemed to like boost his oxygen right up, and he felt really good. He was doing great. They obviously asked him if he wanted to go to the hospital. He was like, no, I really don't. The reason why he said no is when he asked, well, are they going to do anything for me there? They basically told him no. They're like, you're going to sit there for 6 hours, and once they see you're stable, they're just going to send you home. Like, well, that's ridiculous. There's no point in going to the hospital. Kept him home. He woke up Sunday morning, which was the 5th, said he was feeling good, and then by that evening, he was just, again, like, his oxygen was super low. He was coughing. We couldn't get him to keep his eyes open. It was really, really bad. Carmen, one of our best friends, she's a nurse practitioner, and she's right across the street. So I went over, talked to her about what was going on, asked her for her O2 reader. She's like, check his O2 and then let me know what it says. So I check it. It was like in the 80s. It wasn't looking good. She was like, I think it's time. I think it's time for him to go to the hospital. So I called the paramedics again. He didn't have enough strength for me to even walk him to the car to get him to the hospital ourselves. So 911 was the only way. So 911 comes. They had also told us the previous night that if he needed the albuterol treatments to continue doing them. So we gave him like 2 back-to-back on Sunday to try to help get him breathing. Paramedics come. They obviously check him out. He was also running like 102, 103 fever, which we did not even realize. And they're like, we need to take him in now. So Dad got admitted to the hospital on September 5th. He ended up spending 19 days in the hospital. There were obviously so many rough patches through that 19 days. He ended up in the IMC, which is 1 level below ICU. He went from being on just regular oxygen to full on an Airvo to a BiPAP machine, and then they were able to take him off the BiPAP, and I believe they put him back on Airvo and then down to a high flow. He was also on a non-rebreather machine. Like, he literally had almost every single form of oxygen you can get except a vent. We luckily never had to go there. But because he was on BiPAP for so long, it was getting to the point where we were not sure if he was gonna have to have a feeding tube put in because he couldn't get any fluids. They would not put him on an IV because they said that COVID patients on IVs have adverse reactions to it and it makes the problems worse. But obviously Dad had COVID pneumonia. That's what it ended up being. Spent 19 days in the hospital, came home obviously, as y'all saw, last Friday. And today is, I don't even know, guys. What's today? Today is September 29th, and Dad's not even a week out. It'll be a week on Friday. He's been doing great, you guys. It's been so awesome to have him home, and we've only had home health come one time, which was on Monday. He was supposed to have his first follow-up appointment with his doctor on this coming Monday, and we've just been waiting for the physical therapist and occupational therapist to come in and do what they need to do. But unfortunately, guys, today it was shower day. So my mom did the normal routine, take him in the bathroom, put him on the shower chair, shower him up, and his heart rate was like already through the roof before, but he still wanted to take a shower. So Mom gave him a shower. As soon as that was done, we put the O2 reader on his finger, and his oxygen was down like in the low 80s, high 70s, and his heart rate was like 140s to 150. Okay. We tried to give him time because sometimes with all of that movement and whatnot, it takes him like 5 minutes or so to get recovered. So we gave him that time. Unfortunately, he just was not recovering. So I called his nurse, and his nurse immediately said I need to call 911. So I called 911. They came. They did an EKG. It showed that his heart was actually fine. It was functioning normal. But they put a rebreather on him, which is like the oxygen mask that has a bag on it. They put that on him, and his oxygen immediately went up to like 97. Like, it was great, but his heart rate would not come down. It was staying in like the high 130s. And they said, like, something's obviously not right. We have to take him in. Like, he needs to go. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, it's still Dad's decision if he wants to go to the hospital. And at that point, we're like, Dad, you definitely need to go. So here we sit at the ER. Mom is in there with him right now, and he's being readmitted. His pneumonia is back, and it's worse. They're also testing him for a few other things, and we're just not sure, you guys. We're not sure what the next step is, other than he's on antibiotics literally at this moment, they just got him on antibiotics and they gave him an anticoagulant, which is to keep him from getting blood clots, which they are testing for. But it has been a crazy month, a very crazy month. And just as we thought life was gonna get back to normal and Dad was gonna start getting stronger, like we were going to go into the recovery phase of this, I feel like we just went back to square one. When I initially planned to do this video, it was going to be nothing but happiness. Obviously telling you the scary parts, but it was gonna be all happy. And instead, I have no good news right now. Other than Dad is still here and he's still in good spirits, which is the most important. Y'all have not gotten vlogs in almost a month because it's just been too much. I haven't wanted to vlog. I did not want to vlog any of this. I think I might actually vlog this part of it. I might at least like give you updates, but please pray for my dad. Pray for our family. This is exhausting. It's so hard emotionally and mentally. Like it's a roller coaster game and it's not fun. It's just not fun at all. I have my beliefs and my theories and all of it on why this has happened and what's caused my dad to get to this point. Clearly, YouTube has made it very clear that if I post anything that is anti-COVID or anti-vaccine, that they will ban me. So I have to be very careful what I post on here now when it comes to this. But this is our story. And this is real life. This is what's happening. I've never not thought that COVID wasn't real. Like I've always known. I had COVID, y'all. Like I had COVID in January. Like I know that COVID is a real thing. I 100% believe that the hospitals are not doing what's right for the patients though. I believe they are making this worse than what it actually is. I believe that they are the problem, that they are the reason that patients are dying. And firsthand, I see how we have so many COVID deaths, okay? My dad came into the ER with high heart rate. His heart rate was extremely elevated, but all they did was mark him as COVID because he has had COVID. So if anything happened to him, he would have just been marked as a COVID patient, not elevated heart rate, not like something wrong with his heart. And it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna go ahead and stop there because I'll just get too fired up. But that's what's been going on. I'm really praying that these antibiotics work and that we're able to get this under control and Dad's able to come home soon because I don't want him here. I don't want him here. I know that he can't be home because being home is not healthy for him right now because we don't have all of the things that he needs, but I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's taken everything in me not to be emotional. I've gotten all my emotions out prior to this video. So me smiling is not because I'm happy. Me smiling is a coping mechanism to keep me from crying. And I think a lot of people misunderstand people when they make serious videos and when they smile, they're like, oh my gosh, like you're so heartless. No, it's a coping mechanism to keep you from freaking losing it. So thank you guys so much for loving us, for supporting us, and just pray that we get through this, please. I appreciate every single one of you, and thanks for watching. I'll be back with an update soon. Bye.